Eric Denton, 2014 Distinguished Achievement in Industry Diamond Award winner.
Well, he's a dynamic kind of a guy.
He was very calm, always took no credit for himself.
Eric could keep things simple. He'd just focus in on, okay, what can we do to make this better?
Eric's career as a chemical engineer began at Monsanto, where he played a key role in developing a Seattle plant that converted pulp mill waste into artificial vanilla. Eric went on to join Weyerhaeuser, where he worked to modernize the sawmill industry for the digital age.
The industry began 100 years ago when trees were everywhere.
Many of the bigger logs had been cut, and so we were getting more and more smaller logs, and these big sawmills were not very efficient at cutting the little logs.
In a large log, you can make all these cuts every place, and if you mess up, you're only really affecting the outer edges. Smaller logs, you have to be more accurate in how you cut them. They're not perfect cylinders. They're not even perfect tapered cones. They have sinuosity and everything else that makes it difficult to decide where to make that cut.
Then we still had the problem of measuring the log before it came into this mill.
And so once they got to that sawmill, we wanted to be sure that the most value could be derived from those logs. And that's where Eric was a genius.
Eric came to me and he said we could use a computer to do that. And he designed the system, and it would measure as the log went through. It would measure the volume of that log and do it more accurately than it could be done manually.
Changing such a traditional industry was not an easy task. Eric persisted in the face of immense difficulties. He traveled to the sawmills to train operators and drafted manuals to troubleshoot problems. Though originally resistant, mill supervisors eventually drove the efforts to keep Eric's new system operational.
And it was his understanding and his ability to adjust in a very sophisticated way a machine that would respond to, in effect, to directions to move one way or the other by what it saw or felt.
Computers allowed us to do that, and Eric really was on the forefront of that.
That process was used extensively throughout the rest of the industry. In fact, had a write-up on the front page of one of the trade magazines, and it went worldwide, and that was the first time that computers had been used in a sawmill.
And so we've gone from completely manual decisions to almost completely computer-based decisions.
Weyerhaeuser's investment of $30,000 for Eric's scanner resulted in close to $1 million gain per machine each year. It reduced waste and massively increased yield and productivity.
One of the great values, of course, of having that kind of leadership at the mill was just to be able to bring a new customer there so they could appreciate the degree to which we were getting optimum value out of every log, just because we utilized all of what was in a timber by cutting it differently thanks to Eric's understanding.
He's very much an engineer. Basically looked at a problem, came up with a way to solve it, and it made it for a really good atmosphere, and we had great fun doing it.
I don't know of another engineer who I could say nicer things about.
His contributions to the public at large, to take these enormously important forests and see them turned into increasingly useful and affordable product.
He was always pushing the envelope, getting into things that were a change from what it had been done, and that's just the kind of a guy he is, and he's good at it.